Fractions in context. There are 600 students in a school. How many school lunches must be prepared if 2/3 of those students have school lunches? So 2/3 of the students, so 2/3 of this total amount. So we can write that out as 2 over 3, there's our fraction, and we multiply that by 600. Now since we're multiplying fractions, it's easier for me to make that also a fraction, because that highlights that we can look at these diagonal and we can simplify. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 600 divided by 3 is 200. Now we can go ahead and multiply the numerator. 2 times 200, that's 400. Denominator 1 times 1, that's 1. And 400 over 1, of course, is 400. So if we need to prepare lunch for 2/3 of a student body of 600, that will be 400 lunches. Let's calculate the perimeter and area of the rectangle shown. So we've got a length here, which is 2 1/4 meters, and we've got this width here, which is 1 1/3 meters. So the first thing I want to do is change these mixed numbers into improper fractions. It will make it easier to do these calculations for perimeter and area. So 2 1/4, that's 2 times 4, which is 8, plus 1, which is 9. 9 over the same denominator, which is 4. So 2 1/4 is 9 over 4. 1 1/3, we do 1 times 3, which is 3, plus 1 is 4. Over the same denominator, 3. So 4/3 is the same as 1 1/3. Now that we have these improper fractions, we can use them to do our calculations here. So perimeter is simply the outside here. So we have 2 lengths that we'll add and 2 widths. So that looks like 9 over 4 plus 9 over 4 plus 4 over 3 plus 4 over 3. Okay, so we can add together these 2 lengths and we can add together these 2 widths because they each have the same denominator. But we can't add them together yet because 4 is obviously not 3. So we'll go ahead and put these 2 together. 9 over 4 plus 9 over 4 is 18 over 4. And 4 over 3 plus 4 over 3 is 8 over 3. As you can see, we can't add these together because they don't have the same denominator. Give us a little bit more room here because we're going to make the same denominator. Okay, I just moved the 8/3 over there. So we need a common denominator. To do so, we need a multiple of 3 and 4 that is the same, and that number is 12. So to make 4 into 12, we multiply it by 3. So we need to take this fraction and multiply it by 3 over 3. And then this one we need to change. We need to make 12 on the bottom. So that means we'll multiply this fraction by 4 over 4. So let's do this. 18 times 3 is 54. 4 times 3 is 12. 8 times 4 is 32. And 3 over 4 is 12. So now they do have the same common denominator. They're both over 12. So now we can go ahead and add 54 over 12 plus 32 over 12. That's 86 over 12. This is a mixed number, and let's put it back into, this is an improper fraction, so let's put it back into a mixed number. So 5 times 12 is 60. 7 times 12 is 84. 7 times 12 is 84. So there's at least 7 of these 12s in this 86. Okay, so this will become 7. 7 times 12 we said is 84. We need to get to 86, so we need 2 more, so that's 2/12. We always need to simplify. So these are both even, which means we can divide them both by 2. And that will give us 7 1/6. So the perimeter is 7 1/6 meter. Now let's look at area. So area of this rectangle is simply going to be the length times the width. So that's going to be 9 over 4 times 4 over 3. So this is an easier calculation. We look at this diagonal here. Of course, 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 4 divided by 4 is also 1. The 9 and 3 can both be divided by 3. So this becomes 1, and this becomes 3. Now we simply have 3 over 1 times 1 over 1. So that's just 3 times 1, and 3 times 1 is just 3. This was meters, and this was meters. So we're left with 3 meters squared, or 3 square meters. So by changing these to improper fractions first, it makes it easier to go ahead and perform our calculations. And once we're finished, we can take the improper fraction and move it back into a mixed number. Okay, third question. A loaf of bread requires 3/4 kilogram of flour. How many loaves can be made from 6.5 kilograms of flour? Okay, so we have 6.5 kilograms of flour, a huge bag of flour, and we need 3/4 of a kilogram to make 1 loaf of bread. So if we take our giant bag of flour and we divide it by however many amounts we need to make 1 loaf, then we can figure out how many we can make. So just like the previous example, let's change this 6.5 into an improper fraction first. So 6.5. That's 6 times 2, which is 12, plus 1, that's 13. Same denominator, 13 over 2. So 6.5 is 13 over 2. So that's how many kilograms of flour that we have. Now we need to find out how many times does 3/4 go into that number. How many times does 3/4 go into 13 over 2? So to do that, we need to take 13 over 2 and divide it by 3/4. So dividing by a fraction is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So 13 over 2 divided by 3/4 is the same as times 4/3. So we can simplify here. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Now let's work this out. So 13 times 2 is 26, and 1 times 3 is 3. So here's our mixed fraction. Let's find out how many times does 3 go into 26. That will be 8 times 3 is 24. So we've got a large 8. That would give us 24. We need 26, so that leaves 2 of the thirds left. So with this 6.5 kilogram bag of flour, we can make 8 2/3 loaves of bread.